Ugh, the carnival, I can't stand it. At least it's easy to blend in with the crowd, so they'll never see it coming. Cornered, pinned down, nothing more than target practice. I'm glad I brought a bit of home with me. I mean, why even the playing field when you can just play dirty? Alright, let's talk about DREADBORE. First of all, thank you so much for watching and joining me for the EVERFEST spoilers season. I'm having a blast so far sharing all of the spoilers on my Twitter, but today we're going to talk about my own spoiler card here, DREADBORE. This card is absolutely badass. This is such a sick card, and I'm so glad I'm able to preview it for all of the Flesh and Blood fans, and especially the Ranger fans out here, because I think this is going to be an absolute staple of the class, depending on what kind of build you want to do. So what does DREADBORE do? So DREADBORE is a ranger weapon. It is a two-handed bow, so Azalea can use this, yes. As a once per turn action for a single resource, you may put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. So first of all, that's already great for Azalea because both the Death Dealer and the Redliner do not work with New Horizon, but DREADBORE does. So DREADBORE does work with New Horizon, so you can play with New Horizon in an Azalea deck, finally. And it also says, if you do, it gains +1 until end of turn, go again. So that's kind of cool, right? You just get a +1. Azalea never had a bow that gave her +1. The Redliner basically just lets you put an arrow into your arsenal for free, and the Death Dealer lets you draw a card when you do so. But the DREADBORE has one more ability, and it is a game changer. This is a static ability, and it says, arrows you control have defense reactions, can't be played from hand, this chain link. And that is amazing. I want to note a couple things quickly here. First, that is a static ability. That does not apply only to the arrows used to load with DREADBORE. That applies to all arrows you control, period. So if you are able to reload and fire off another arrow, this applies to that. So this is just a static ability, and we've only ever had one other weapon in the game that had a static ability before, and never on a bow. And this one is incredibly powerful. And we're going to talk about some applications here that I thought of just off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's more, including the new, basically massive ballista bolt arrow that was spoiled by Dice Commando, and I'll have that here on screen, but it is just absolutely nuts. So let's get started talking about some of the stuff. You know what? I'll also show off this. This is cold foil, right? So this is a cold foil majestic DREADBORE. So cool. It's so cool. So let's talk about some interactions with this, because I think this card is going to be absolutely nuts. All right, the first one and the easiest one is my previous spoiler card, Seek and Destroy. And Seek and Destroy just says, 0, your next air attack this turn gains +3. If it hits a hero at the beginning of their next end phase, they discard all cards in their hand and destroy all cards in their arsenal. So if they happen to have any defense reactions in their hand that, they couldn't play because your arrows basically make it so they can't play defense reactions from their hand for the entire game, because this is, like I said, this is just a static ability. It's not only to arrows put into the arsenal with DREADBORE. So for the entire game, your opponent just can't play defense reactions from their hand against your arrows. So yeah, Seek and Destroy will clean them up and destroy them, which is fantastic. But you're like, oh, well, they can still play defense reactions from their arsenal. No. Not if you have Remorseless. Not if you have Remorseless. Remorseless is a 1-cost 5-attack ranger arrow. Blocks for 3, and it says, if Remorseless is put into your arsenal face up, and you know what? DREADBORE does put it into the arsenal face up, it gains defense reactions can't be played from arsenal to Remorseless's chain link. So if you have DREADBORE and Remorseless, your opponent just can't play defense reactions. They can't play it from hand with DREADBORE. They can't play it from arsenal with Remorseless. You're going to push some damage through. And if you can dominate this arrow, with Azalea's special ability, you are off to town. And if you can dominate this and then also pump it with something like Seek and Destroy, you are, this is so sweet. I can already see some decks being built around DREADBORE. I'm personally building some decks around DREADBORE, and it actually makes Azalea a little bit more viable too, maybe over Lexi, because Azalea has that built-in dominate on her hero, whereas Lexi does not. And if you're going to be using DREADBORE to prevent, you know, them playing defense reactions, it means you can't be using Shiver like, you know, Lexi could. So you could play DREADBORE in both Lexi and Azalea, but I think you could definitely play this in Azalea and make a deck and make it work, and I think it's going to be awesome. So yeah, Remorseless and DREADBORE are disgusting. And then I just want to point out that you can finally use Bolt and Shot in Azalea, and Bolt and Shot's one of the best Ranger arrows in the game. It's a 0-cost arrow. It attacks for 4, blocks for 3. This is the red version. And it says, while Bolt and Shot's power is greater than its base power, it gains Go Again, and if it hits, reload. And that's super, super good with DREADBORE, because it always gets that +1 from DREADBORE's effect, right? So you put it into your arsenal, you give it that +1, and then it automatically has Go Again, and if it hits, reload. So DREADBORE, or Bolt and Shot, is now playable in Azalea. This is going to be really, really awesome. I didn't even talk about, once again, that card that was spoiled by Dice Commando. Once again, I'll have an image of it on the screen, and it synergizes so well with DREADBORE as well. So it's just, this stuff is nuts, and I think we finally have the makings of what could be, I'm not saying it is, could be a legit good Ranger Azalea deck. So yes, I'm so glad I get to share this with everyone. I don't know how exactly good and competitive it's going to be, but just at the base level, you just see stuff like this, and you're like, yo, you just can't play any defense reactions, like at all. And you're like, yeah, every Ranger player has those moments when they're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to play a huge pumped up, 12 attack arrow, and then they play an unmovable. No. You can't do that. Not from hand, not from arsenal with the Remorseless. No defense reactions from you. You take the damage and you eat these on-hit effects. And it's gonna end up playing kind of like a Hate Bears style deck where you have all these really sweet on-hit effects. And if you can set it up right, then you can absolutely dunk your opponent depending on what strategy they're using and what effects you can get. So yes, DREADBORE. I'm so glad I get to spoil this. And we're only halfway through EVERFEST spoiler season so far. I think the set is amazing. I cannot wait to talk more about it. I will be doing some more spoiler videos talking about EVERFEST. I've been working on this video instead of doing those, but we'll have some of those coming up, as well as a big recap of the set with me and a special guest. So, other videos you should check out today. We have Garbage Andy, as well as the Spike Feeders Fab, both friends of the channel. They do have spoiler videos going out today, as well as Flake has his going up. Just check out that the list of all of the content creators to check out. But definitely check them all out. They're making some really, really good stuff. I think Andy's giving me a little tidbits on how his video is, and it's pretty hilarious. So definitely check all that stuff out. I will have a link in the description down below for the list of all of the content creators who are doing stuff for EVERFEST for today. Anyway, with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content. Have a good one all. We'll see you later.